but literally I could not walk for minutes afterwards. My quads were destroyed for days. They were cramping. I got a headache. It was absolutely awful. I've never felt anything like it. Today's video is probably going to be telling you both what you want to hear and what you need to hear, because the truth is nobody likes doing Bulgarian split squats. They are a soul-sucking, life-leeching vampire of an exercise. Unfortunately for you, this video is going to explain why they aren't growing your quads. A free pass to stop doing Bulgarian split squats. Great, right? Well, kinda, because unfortunately I'm also going to be telling you that all of your time spent doing Bulgarian split squats in the past was a waste of time, effort, pain, and tears. I will also be explaining to you how to make them an extremely effective exercise for the future. But for now, the reality is that you've wasted loads of time in the past doing ineffective Bulgarian split squats, and you can't stop doing them, because today I'm going to tell you how to make your future ones super effective. So really, we've got the worst of both worlds. You wasted your time before, and you've got to keep doing them now. Sorry. I know this intro kind of took a turn for the worse after a positive start, and something else that has taken a turn for the worse is the YouTube algorithm, because it absolutely sucks lately. It's been absolutely killing all of your favourite content creators, so please do us a big favour by liking videos that you like, leaving comments regardless of what they say, and subscribing to our channels, watching our videos quickly when we post them, because these things massively help the algorithm boost us. You can also hit the top link in my description for more information on my online coaching services. It has been blowing up lately. I've had loads of new people starting, so before I have to close off applications, get in now and sign up when you can. With that being said, let's get into today's video topic, which is why Bulgarian split squats are not currently growing your legs and what you need to do in the future to make it so they do. Bulgarian split squats feel so awful. They are so exhausting and so painful that you are not stopping because your quads are close to failure. You are stopping because of your lack of pain tolerance and your cardiovascular ability. After a set of Bulgarian split squats and you are huffing and puffing while stood on your legs, what do you think that tells you? While you're stood on your legs, you're not laying on the floor, so you're absolutely fine in terms of your quads. Yes, they might have been stimulated a little bit. Yes, they might get sore the next day, but the reason you stopped that set was not because of your legs. The reason you stopped that set was because of your breathing, because of your cardio, because of your heart. And that is what's limiting you from performing that exercise. So that means that you're doing some great things for your cardiovascular health, but you're not doing a whole lot for your quads. Something like a leg extension, a hack squat, a leg press, that is not giving you that same cardiovascular workout, that is allowing you to take the local musculature to absolute failure, that is going to grow your quads more than a Bulgarian split squat in this situation. And then if it isn't down to your heavy breathing that you're stopping the set for, then why are you stopping it? It's because it really hurts. Unfortunately, with quad training, when you feel like you're at failure, you've probably got another 5, 6, 8 reps to go. You've just never been there because your pain tolerance doesn't let you. And don't worry, I'm not calling you a wimp, because this happens to so many people. Nearly every single person, actually. Not many people have ever truly failed a leg exercise because of their quads. It is always other factors, like squats, your lower back limiting you, for example. So most people don't actually know what it feels like to train to failure on their legs. And that is why Bulgarian split squats currently aren't growing your legs. Now I'm going to give you my personal experience on this, and this is definitely something that you have to see. For a time, I absolutely loved Bulgarian split squats as an ego lift. Yes, for ego. I know it's not your typical ego lift, but I was using it as one. I was using the typical setup of dumbbells in both hands, 1 foot back on a bench, and I was using 32 kilo, not pound, kilo dumbbells, repping it out. I stood up, I had black spots in my eyes, and I thought I was amazing. I thought it was so cool. I kept pushing up the weight, going heavier and heavier, getting right to the end of the dumbbell rack, and I felt like it made me hardcore that I was pushing such heavy weight on an exercise that most people hate. I did this for a while, showed it off to a girl I was seeing at the time, got black spots in my eyes, you know the deal. And I then slowly started to realise that they do suck, and I completely understood why most people hate them. So at that point, I stopped doing them for a few years. Then, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I started doing coaching online with Steve Hall from Revive Stronger, and this is where everything changed. Because Steve got me doing Bulgarian split squats again, but they were very different to what I was doing beforehand. With a lot of the tips and changes to my setup that I will give you at the end of this video, I was now taking Bulgarian split squats to actual failure of my quads. As you may know, with Steve and also my own methods, starting the meso, I was at around 4 reps in reserve, and then we progressed to failure throughout the 5 weeks, then followed by a deload. In the first meso, I was doing my reps. I started at 14, I finished at 18, recorded myself, sent the video to Steve, and he said, Ash, the form looks really good, but you can do more. You are not pushing yourself hard enough on these split squats. And I was like, man, that hurt a little bit, because I thought I was going hard. It hurt a little bit, it bruised the ego, I won't lie. So in the second meso, I was like, man, it is my time to show off to Steve Hall. I really respect this guy. He challenged me to do more, so I am going to go absolute balls to the wall. And I ended up doing not 18 reps like I was supposed to in that final week. I did 26 reps. That is 8 reps more than I thought failure was. So I was 8 reps away from failure with my leg exercise that I thought I was at failure at. So I was further away at the end of the meso than I was supposed to be at the start of the meso. And this is with somebody that identifies and knows how to train hard. Where do you think your average gym goer is? I will have been overlaying a video of what happened during this set on the screen, but literally I could not walk for minutes afterwards. My quads were destroyed for days. They were cramping. I got a headache. It was absolutely awful. I've never felt anything like it, and I guarantee you it grew my quads a ton. And do you know what the worst part is? The worst part is that after I did it, when I could finally move again and get off the floor, I then had to do it on my other leg. And that killed a small part of me. That was honestly the hardest workout of my life. So screw you, Steve Hall, but also thank you. And now that you've heard my story with Bulgarian split squats and you've heard the challenge that Steve Hall gave me, you can probably guess what my challenge is for you. I want you to add Bulgarian split squats into your training program using the tips I'm going to give you at the end of the video. Then I want you to progress them through your mesocycle of training to where you think you are 1 rep from failure. And that following week, I want you to go balls to the wall, all out to failure, and see how many reps you get beyond where you thought you were going to be hitting failure. If you thought failure was 11 reps, so the week before that you do 10, see how many you can get to. Maybe it'll be 15, maybe it'll be 20, maybe it'll be 30. I guarantee you will be shocked and in pain. This is my challenge to you, and I'd absolutely love if you could record this and send it to me. I think that'd be really, really fun. If I get enough of these submitted, I'll make a video reviewing some of my favorites. So record yourself and email them to me on ashmaypt@gmail.com, and we can maybe get a fun little challenge video going together. Prove to me that my subscribers have got big old balls. With all that being said, let's go through the tips for making Bulgarian split squats the most effective leg exercise they can be. So of course, however you set up your Bulgarian split squats, you aren't going to get away from the fact that they're going to be working your glutes and your quads. That being said, we can definitely make it so they bias one or the other a lot more. The following advice is going to be to set them up so that they hammer your quads as much as possible, but you can basically reverse all of this information to make it so that they hammer your glutes instead. The first thing is going to be your stance, how far away your feet are. And basically, you want your foot as close to you as you can without your heel lifting to make it so it is as quad dominant as possible. It will get you the most knee travel, the most knee flexion as possible, and as we know, that is what the quads do. The next thing I strongly recommend you doing is a deficit. If you can lift up your front foot, your knee can go below where the floor would actually be, so that instead of getting your knee to that angle, for example, you can get full knee flexion and you can work up to a bigger and bigger deficit. I now do a deficit that is twice the size of what you saw in the video that I recorded, and that has made it even better for quad exercise. So a nice big old deficit to get as much knee flexion as possible. The next thing is something that Steve recommended to me, and it is honestly what's made the biggest difference, and that is by doing them supported. So rather than holding dumbbells in 2 hands, I now hold onto the Smith machine in 1 hand and hold the dumbbell in the other hand, and that has made a huge amount of difference. The extra stability allows me to just drive through my front foot so much more. Also, because I'm holding on to something, I can lean forward and bring all of my weight over that front foot so that I'm driving through that foot rather than sitting back and pushing a lot more through the glute. This has made the biggest difference out of all these tips, I would say, in terms of the amount of quad in particular I get from this exercise. So definitely don't be afraid to hold on to something with one hand for support. Obviously, you're not pulling yourself up with it, you're just gently holding it. It makes a huge difference in your stability and therefore the power that you can transfer in the exercise. Another big tip is to wear lifting straps, because with this exercise, your quads are strong. They are a big muscle group and they are much bigger than your forearms, right? So when you are holding the weight, it is very, very likely, especially for higher rep ranges, that you're going to be failing the exercise based on what you can hold onto with the dumbbell if you aren't wearing straps. And we want to make it so that you are limited purely by your quads. So make sure you are wearing lifting straps when doing this exercise, or using a barbell instead, so that you aren't limited by what you can hold on to. Along with having your foot on a deficit, I would massively recommend using a heel raise. Again, in the video you saw, I didn't have them at the time, but I now wear Olympic weightlifting shoes with a 1-inch heel so that my heel is elevated. And what that allows for is even more knee flexion without being limited by the range of motion in your ankle. So I would strongly recommend using Versalifts, heel raise of any type, lifting shoes, anything you can to lift up your heel. In terms of the execution of the exercise, you want to be using a slow tempo. When you drop down, you want to really focus on building that mind-muscle connection of feeling the fibers in your quads stretch under tension. So lower yourself down for a good 2 or 3 seconds, do a gentle pause when your knee taps the floor, and then explosively drive up through that quad, and that'll do you well. In terms of rep range as well, these do way better than people realize in higher rep ranges. So don't go for 8 to 10 reps on these. Instead, 12 to 15, 12 to 20 will absolutely blow your quads up. The reason people don't want to do it is because it hurts even more. 8 reps on these is less painful than 15, but I promise you, if you try it and you push yourself to failure, like in my challenge, you will get more from 15 rep sets on these than you will on 8. All of these tips will make Bulgarian split squats feel absolutely awful and terrible, but I promise you, it will pay off massively in terms of the results you get from your quad growth. I think you will be shocked by how much of a difference this makes in your training. So it won't be a nice thing to do necessarily, but I guarantee you it will be worth the investment, because if you're going to be in the gym, you may as well be doing something that is going to be beneficial. So try these tips and I guarantee you will notice a huge difference in the way you feel your quads next time. So in conclusion, Bulgarian split squats are not a good exercise for most people trying to grow their legs, purely because they're not setting the exercise up well to target the quads, and they're not training anywhere near hard enough. That being said, if you can correct those technique issues, and if you can really take yourself to that dark place where you truly push to failure for your quads, then they are one of the best exercises for building your quads that exist. So will you accept my challenge and see what you can really do? Please do. Please record yourself and email me the video, ashmaypt@gmail.com. Let's see if we can get a video of these challenges together so I can review some of my favorites, give you some feedback on the technique, all that kind of stuff. Don't forget the top link in the description will take you to information on my online coaching services, or you can discuss it personally with me on ashmaypt@gmail.com. Been getting loads of new signups lately, so I might have to shut down the application soon, so make sure to get in before I have to do that. If you are thinking about it or interested at all, any questions, just let me know. If you enjoyed the video, support your favorite content creator, me, right, by giving a thumbs up. Also leave a comment on any of your thoughts about this topic. I'd love to hear your own experiences. Let me know if you had something like mine with Steve Hall. Really interested to hear. Thank you as always for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and until the next one, see you later guys.